Welcome to The System Works, the lifestyle channel that shows you a practical way to live, the what's in it for you. The System Works. Own it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of The System Works. I am your host, Ernest Phillips, and today's episode is how to make the world make sense. One of the things that I have found is when the world makes sense to me, I am more relaxed. I am at ease, and I don't have to worry about a lot of things. And one of the biggest things that I found is when the world makes sense to me, I'm less likely to be agitated. I'm less likely to be anxious or angry or any of those things. And when I'm less likely to do those, it makes more room to be happy. And I'll give you an example and a story of how this whole episode came about. I live in a neighborhood that doesn't have a whole lot of car traffic. And I pull out and I drive around the block. And as I'm driving, a car is pulling out very slowly. It probably didn't see me. And I stop and I wait. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't honk. I didn't get mad. They slowly pulled out. I didn't see them wave or anything, and then they just slowly drove off. And I chilled because guess what? I understand. I've done that to other people. Again, the neighborhood doesn't have a lot of traffic. There are times when, because I'm not used to people being behind me, I just pull right out and then I see a car and I'm like, I am so sorry. And I'll pull back in and I'll wave and I'll do the whole I'm so sorry wave. And then when I back out, I'm looking for him again to try to do another I'm so sorry wave. And I feel like a jerk for about 10 seconds and then I go about my business. And guess what? I've done it more than once, which means that didn't teach me to never do it again. What it taught me is to be aware of it. So I am more aware of it, and I haven't done it for a long time. So that way, when I see somebody else doing it, I have some understanding, and the world made sense. And I'm driving, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, that would make a great episode. I'm driving along, and not 5 minutes later, a car in front of me jams their brakes. And I mean jams their brakes to make a right turn. And now I have to jam my brakes. I almost rear end them, and they turn into Long John Silver's. Now, I very much wanted to judge them, but I had just got done thinking about how understanding makes my world better. Now, I do not understand why they went to Long John Silver's. That food makes no sense to me at all, but apparently they're still open. So if someone does that, this is right in one of those, I am not the target audience for Long John Silver's. But my narrative of understanding, my narrative of putting myself into their position, of finding a scenario that makes sense. Because here's the thing, me honking is not going to get them to say I'm sorry and change their ways. Me screaming at them, cussing them out from inside of my car isn't going to make them a better driver. It's not going to make my day better. It's going to give me more stress, and now I'm more angry. And because that first neighborhood had just happened, I was more prepared for this person. Not getting angry isn't about letting people off the hook. It's about, is your energy gonna be fruitful or fruitless? Me yelling at them from my car as they go get Long John Silver's, that might be their punishment as far as I'm concerned. Their punishment is having to eat Long John Silver's and pay for it. Me, I got to keep going along my day, feeling relaxed, feeling good about who I am. Not, and I'm not kidding you, it is like maybe another mile down, I see a car cross 3 lanes of traffic to make a right turn shortly before the light. Now, by this point, I'm laughing. I'm thinking, man, the world is giving me universal currency because this is going to make this episode easy. 3 true examples back to back to back. Now, I am sure someone in front of me yelled at that person and it was fruitless, and they have more stress and I don't. Look, my youngest likes to watch these YouTube episodes of people who have their dash cams and seeing people do a thing like that. And they're recording it and they're screaming and they're yelling and they're cussing. And what's wrong with these people? And oh my gosh, what's your jerk? And they're doing all that stuff. And I watch it and I just think, wow, that's a lot of energy that has no benefit. I mean, literally none. So here's the tug tip. The path of understanding begins with truth, not feelings. Here's the truth. You have no idea why they crossed those lanes. You have no idea why they didn't see you. It doesn't matter if it was intentional or unintentional. It doesn't matter. And you don't know for sure. Not to mention, they probably didn't do it because of you. It's not like they have been driving around waiting to get in front of you just so they can slam on their brakes and turn right 25 feet before they're supposed to. There's no reason to take it personal outside of eliminating an understanding of what is probably going on. Here's your action step. Imagine a world where there's people that make mistakes, just like you make mistakes. Now, imagine that world where you give grace and understanding for them in the same way you just might want to receive some grace and understanding when you make a mistake. Just imagine that world. Here's the Wi-Fi. Here's what's in it for you. You lose nothing and you gain everything. Go make sense of your world. You'll enjoy it. We'll see you soon. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The System Works. Have fun with the action steps. Enjoy the Wi-Fis. Click like, click subscribe, and comment. The good and the bad, we like them all. We look forward to seeing you next time. The System Works. Own it.